Today's video is on the axis of excellence. An axis is where 2 points meet to create, let's call it an energetic boost. And in our case, it's body-mind that creates our capacity for excellence, or the lack thereof. So, of course, there are no hard and fast rules when it comes to excellence, but look, you can't create the conditions for excellence by ignoring the finer soft skills or the aspects of your preparation simply because you don't like them, or they don't fit your mental picture of what it should look like. So I'm going to give you a clear heads up. Physically, on what creates the bedrock of your chances to thrive. And you know what? It's not speed. Physically, it's your ability to function at a high rate of speed for the lowest possible oxygen cost. And if you think you'll get that by flogging yourself through endless, mindless speed sessions, you're just kidding yourself. So we need to look a little deeper than that if we're after our own ultimate gain as athletes. So you need to develop your aerobic speed and your basic strength. And any pro cyclist worth their salt will tell you that it's the basis of their whole season. Strength and aerobic speed, they're the bedrocks that allow us to hit these great speeds for long periods of time. In fact, I'd go as far as saying they're responsible for 80% of your race day function, physically at least. And the reason I use pro cyclists is that they need to repeat over and over again for thousands of kilometers for a whole season. We have this tendency in triathlon to look at best practice by looking at what the world's best is. And all we see is speed. We don't see what underpins it. It's like looking at an iceberg and only seeing the fraction that's above the waterline. And we don't see what's underneath. So we ignorantly create a best practice based on ideal that's just not true. It's just the tip of what we see, and we analyze that and we get it wrong. So you can take someone like a Christian Blumenfeld, for instance, and his raw speed and think that that's all there is to it. But he's a monster because he's strong. He operates at incredibly low oxygen cost levels. He didn't get that by doing breakneck. And when he does, you're only looking at the tip of the iceberg that's sticking out of the water again. And to model best practice off that is flying blindfolded. It's not seeing the whole iceberg. It's not seeing the whole picture. In some ways, you could say it's ignorance. And if there's something missing from our national DNA right now, this is it. You won't create best practice by following what you think you see. The axis of this axis intersects at the point of excellence once we've crossed the threshold of aerobic speed and strength that builds up behind, that creates that tip. The other axis is the realm of belief and confidence, which, by the way, is reinforced by doing the work that we know needs to be done. Not what we think we are seeing when we're standing on the outside of someone else's excellent journey and making assumptions about what we think we are doing or what we think they are doing, more to a point. We're not seeing it. And if there's a criticism of our response as a nation to the rest of the world's rapid improvement in triathlon, this is it. We need to look deeper. We need to have more patience. We're too reactive as a triathlon nation. We're not proactive enough. We've given up on the long-haul journey of development to focus on outcomes, strategies, funding, policies. It won't work. It can't work. We need to invest in athletes and fundamentals. Putting the medals and the outcomes before the process itself doesn't make any sense. And I'm not judging and I'm not criticizing. I'm just putting forward my opinion as someone who sat watching for quite a long time. And this is a metaphor for everyone listening to this. Don't follow, don't react, get proactive, be patient, trust your process, chart your progress. Are you falling behind? What are you missing? Trying to get faster by going harder is probably the wrong direction. And I've seen firsthand what aerobic speed and strength can do to an athlete's bottom line, and it's astounding. But it takes patience. And still, even now, we're not getting the message after all this time. Why? Because it's not as sexy. It doesn't sell. We have to focus inwards to develop it, and we have to move away from ego, outcomes, ideas, and concepts to focus on the real meat and veggies. And until we do, we'll all continue to flounder. And I'll bet on monkeys, if you ask any of our past champions, they'll tell you the same thing. It isn't sexy. It's not comfortable. It's not a movie. It's true. And when you get there, it's even more difficult. So best practice is what we make of it. We need a long-term development focus with a short-term response that creates a space where we are present with where we are right now, and a level of patience that allows the development we need. Pushing it to react to so-called best practice is simply following the herd. And if you want to be different, you need to do different. You know, if we want to be different as a nation, we need to do different as a nation. And in my personal opinion, this is how we get back to the forefront of international triathlon, to get back to where we were. And it's how we get to the best of our own personal potential and our own individual needs as an athlete. That excellence is fundamental. It's not reactive. It's patient. It waits. It observes. It absorbs. It creates the conditions for excellence. Thanks for listening.